changing.
Yeah, like the character. He's like the I started reading the Philip Pullman books about the demons.
His Dark Materials.
Yeah, his Dark Materials, and about halfway through working on the Arrival, and I was like, wow, it's kind of the same idea. Like, I was able to articulate then what my creatures were. They were like a soul projection or something like that. It worried me a bit that people would find a comparison. And I was like, no way, I thought of that idea before. And it's quite different. But these creatures are like some sort of projection in a way. They're real, like I don't see them as a hallucination or anything. And so starting off with this shape like that, which is the basic tadpole body as I remember it, and just extending the mouth back like that, like almost pushing it ridiculously far, and it gets a kind of Muppet-like aspect to it. But I was also thinking about the weirdness of some of those deep sea fish that have really big mouths, and it's possibly the creature is silent or it makes a lot of noise, but it's kind of interesting that it has such a large mouth, and I did want it to appear alarming when it first appears, so that when you first see it, it's neither cute nor scary, it's something in between. And the original concept of it, why I referred to tadpoles, was that it came out of the toilet, so the guy was going to go to the toilet and couldn't because this creature is already living there, and how sort of alarming that is on so many levels. So the first thing you'd see coming out of the toilet was this big beak-like mouth. So originally this creature actually had a kind of parrot-like beak, so there was a division here, which I later got rid of for the sake of simplicity, and because that looked too bird-like. So the eye is about here, and again it's like this parrot, fish, frog eye.
And he works as a metaphor for the theme of the entire book, not being quite sure of this new thing, whether it's going to be a positive or negative, going to a new land.
Yeah, exactly. And it is open to interpretation. I mean, the creature turns out to be benevolent and helpful and friendly, but and I think often that can be the case. When you go to a place, it's just sort of very apprehensive at first, and then you sort of realise it's not so bad. So I put these sort of shark-like gills on the creature too, really just as actually a compositional thing more than anything else, because just to balance out the form and make it more convincing, but also because it originally came from a liquid environment. So even when I changed the book and this thing lived in a basket, I decided to keep the gills because of that weirdness, why are they there? And so the tail, the tail's probably the most personal touch for me, and the kind of stylistically repetitive touch, because I really like these simple, long, kind of prehensile tails that you get on. I don't know if you even really get them on an actual animal, but it's a simplification of an animal tail. But I remember sort of growing up with these now quite old-fashioned dinosaur pictures, where the dinosaur tails kind of looked a bit like this sometimes, like a much more flexible, draggy thing, and I probably don't like that at all. So here's the little legs. I mean, the funny thing about this character is that the front legs virtually come out on the bottom jaw,
right? Which
is, again, I thought it actually looks okay while still being weird, but it is strange. It reads as a plausible thing,
Right.
And then the back legs are pretty much a repetition of the front. They're not so much different.
And so which came first, this character or the story of the Arrival?
They evolved simultaneously. Originally this character was very minor. It sort of appeared once, scuttled around, and it was kind of, in the very early drafts of the book, the guy was just fending it off like it was like a rat, like going to substandard housing, and you've got this infestation of these things, and you've got to deal with them. And then I thought, again, it's this what I was saying before about wanting to resolve a crisis. I felt that at first it is a bit like that, but it has to be resolved, like some meaning, positive meaning has to be gained from the experience. So he became like a dog, or a pet, and that's a theme that recurs in my work again and again. I'm actually starting to become a bit self-conscious about it. My obsession with pets, and it's not just a cuteness thing. It's something about the ability to project emotion onto a non-human entity, and that translates to the projection onto pictures as well. So it's a similar process. So the last detail is these little, I've heard some people refer to them as ears, but I don't think of them as ears. Just like a double dorsal fin, and comes from a particular kind of octopus. This little octopus, I forget what it's called, but it has these little flaps on the top of its head that helps it swim along. I thought it's such a weird kind of detail, and so I put them on there, just like these little flaps, and they were able to act almost like I feel like non-existent eyebrows in adding expression to the eye. So there's some parts where it flattens out, a bit like a cat's ears or something like that, when it's frightened or asleep. So that's pretty much it. And then with any picture, I would always put a little, even if it's a real simple sketch,